Hello, darlings. Welcome back to YEAHR. I want to talk about it. I've got a couple things on the agenda. And I come to you now, and then I'm like, they all just evaporate. I feel so glad to be here. We got a moon in the cage. Not the cage, the little proxy bed. And of course, we've got Tegan. And maybe we'll just start there. It's been a little bit of a hard morning. Just having a lot of mixed bag feelings. It's feels a little, very hanging on by the constant thread, which is just unsustainable, but won't change, despite me really trying here. So I did garden. If you know, you know. Shout out to Stevie Gay Parade for coining the excellent practice. And, if you know, you know, it's smoking weed, getting high. Which that shit is deeply important medicine for me. And like I always say Broad City is 25% of my personality. It's not a joke, really. It's pretty accurate. But there's like a point when Alana's like, I'm fully addicted to weed. And while like I'm not saying I'm not, but it's not, I wouldn't characterize it like that, because when my life feels good and like feels representative of my inner light and like the work that I'm made to do, I don't smoke as much. I don't, but when things are rough and I am on scary precipices internally, like if weed and writing don't just make my body inhabitable again, it's intense. And to think, and that's not even taking into account, that's just circumstantial. Then you add on that the ADHD, autism, like lifetime of masking, a lifetime of performing, trying to fit square peg round hole, like the holiday, if you know, you know. I'm going to take maybe a tiny sidebar of when I lived in St. Pete and The Holiday came out, the movie, The Holiday, iconic, Nancy Meyers, love it so much. My roommate, Nairi, at the time, we went, I don't even remember what we were going to see, but I think we had gotten to the movie theater early. I'm pretty sure it was Baywalk, if you know, you know. And it most definitely was Baywalk. And then we saw The Holiday, and we're like, oh, well, let's just pop in. We're just going to pop into that one, and then we'll leave because it'll probably be lame, and we'll go to our other movie. We sat riveted, and I went and saw it many more times in the theater, maybe just one other time. But it was epic. And also, like, there's just so many lines that Kate Winslet's character has of that experience of like the one-sided love, and just her whole kind of realization to choosing herself, to like becoming the leading lady. Like, what a great character arc. And I love the dialogue of that fucking movie. Everyone's character in that movie is so good. Is so good. Down to like the villainous fucking cheating boyfriend, and the gardener being like, don't say it, don't say it. And then he says it. And of course, I, some great shit. Great shit. I have been, so as we spoke last time, I watched this America Ferrera, Who Do You Think You Are? And then the YouTube algorithm sent me Viva Betty, which is Anna Ortiz and Mark Delgado. They were both characters on Ugly Betty, Hilda and Justin, iconic. And they have a podcast and a rewatch podcast, Watching Ugly Betty. And every time that I have watched Ugly Betty, and like I've not had any people in my network that have ever cared about Ugly Betty. And so I've never had anyone to talk to about it. But every time I rewatch it, and it's absolutely a comfort rewatch, I am like always gobsmacked by how good it is, and also like how like deeply embedded that is in me, and that like Betty's tenacity to like be true to herself, and also to like the world at large. And it's been so nice to hear these actors talk about these characters, and also just like Betty as a whole. And it's like they lived it, and they have this deep well of admiration. Like it's so much a part of them, and just to be able to be part of an arc of work, like to me, like being family. And this thought has kind of been circling my brain a lot, because I've been thinking about how when I was younger, when the formative memories, it's of movies, and music. But like initially, before I like found this Devo tape, and that like changed my trajectory in my little brain chemistry, it was movies that were like deeply formative and important, and that like I kind of clung to in this way, that I was trying to make these connections with my family, but like it wasn't ever connecting. And it was through movies that I was able to find a sense of connection, maybe a little bit of a sense of self, like a point of reference in it all, because it was relatable in certain ways, or like it peaked. And I think about the movies I'm thinking about so formatively are Peter Pan the animated, and I mean, talk about gay ass roots. Hello. Like every character in that, and just like what iconic characters. And like I know problematic now, especially Tiger Lily, but like that's another thing for another time. Annie, the only one that matters, with Aline Quinn and Carol Burnett and Tim Curry and fucking Bernadette Peters and fucking Albert Finney. Like, Jesus. And then it's a musical. Your girl loves a fucking musical. And all of the, I mean, like, the song Maybe, her sitting in the windowsill. I mean, I felt like Annie. I wanted to be her. Like, the gumption, the like cojones to be her own person and live her truth. Like, ah. And then she gets, you know, I'm just thinking about the scene in Annie at the end, and they're like together and singing, and oh, and even, even Miss Hannigan, gets to ride on the elephant and be a part of it and like have a redemption. Oh yeah, that's some good shit. um, that's some really good shit. And then the third movie, deeply formative, is a chorus line. Um, oh my god, and that's why I'm the way I am. I think it can be easily summed up in those movies. And then it just went on from there as the person you see weeping before you. Oh, wow, intense. I need a little. I got my new little sticker from Rico del Oro. I was also thinking, I was thinking about how much I love country music, and I kind of, the ADHD in me, I'm like, I forget this shit a lot until it circles back around, and then I'm like, oh yeah, it's always been like this. Point in case, those movies. And I was thinking about how I think I must have been in early college and I was probably in Fort Myers, so I was at FGCU. I don't need to see anything right now. And in, I said in Fort Myers. And I got this, like, I think it was like, it must have been like a greatest hits of Johnny Cash. And my grandfather, him and I at the time had a pretty close relationship. And I remember, I might have gotten it because I knew he liked Johnny Cash. Was that what it was? I can't remember, but I had this CD and I would listen to it in my car and anywhere, and I loved it, and it was just like very, very like raw, just like guitar. It just, I mean, just, if Johnny Cash, I will try and find the actual album and link it. Because also, like, for me, because like I'm like, I want to listen to that in sequence again and like tap back in to where my head was of just like, well, and also I think just like that, the songwriting, yeah, the tenacity of it. And I was thinking today, I was like, God, if I could change my life with one song, if I could just like write a song like in Nashville, the show, and how fucking Gunnar Scott, who there's a train that we're gonna go on. He writes a hit song for um, Raina and Luke Wheeler and gets these banging royalties. Like, just, and I don't know, like, weirdly enough, that feels like I could do that potentially. I just have to figure out how to do that, you know? Um, here is the Gunner Scott Sam Palladio. So I got this new gig, and there's a girl, Susie, who runs the open mic. And oh, there was some, because I ran an open mic last night, well, like bartended for it. A girl gets up on stage and she's like, um, I'm like so stoked to be here. Did anyone ever watch the show Nashville? And of course, like, you know, I'm like, yeah. And she's like, there's 5 spot from the show Nashville. And I'm like, yeah. And, you know, and then one of the owners is like, yeah, they filmed it, you know, because we were talking about how they had to make a sound stage for the Bluebird in the show, and also they did that for a thing called Love too, but like painfully recreated, so that you would let you know, like it looks. Apparently, I have yet to go. I've only been to the outside, but so then Susie was like, "Oh yeah, I styled for Nashville," and I'm like, "What, dude? What? Tell me everything." And she's like, "Yeah, I, you know, get the clothes and then I'd have to get them back. They'd film and I'd have to get them back. So you'd have to return them. She'd have to take photos of the tags to, you know, reattach them and all that." I'm like, wow, that's but to have dressed Sam Palladio, and like he's got a great aesthetic in the show. And it was definitely an era of fedoras and vests. And I'm also like, yeah, um, not mad about it at all. And so fun to like have another through line connecting, you know, it's among us. It's, yeah, I'm bound to find my kind, right? Or like the thing that I'm, well, and then come to that. So, I'm like pretty out of the loop, but I guess, you know, Colbert got canceled or taken off the air and then went on to public access. And so one of the owners and Susie and subsequent partners, they were talking about, you know, I was like 2 hours of just like great jokes and da da da. And, you know, of course, stuff that I couldn't say. And then I was like, oh, like, yeah, let's bring back Wayne's World, like public access. Like, I'm here for it. And then the owner's like, yeah, let's do something like that here. I want to do that here. And it's like, there's a great stage. The owner, Todd, is like so clever with like making shit happen. And like, especially it seems like AV stuff. And like I was saying with the karaoke, and then he has a whole thing for the open mic signups, and it's on the TV. It's so cool. It's so slick. It's so cool. I'm so impressed with that shit. And I'm also like, and then Susie's like, yeah, like Pee Wee Herman. And like, y'all might not know this, but so, you know, I have the YouTube channel, Ganja Claw's Dollhouse, and it's where I used to do like unboxing. But like the ultimate, like I have this idea of this show that I've wanted to do since I started doing that, of having it be like this kind of Pee-wee's Playhouse, and, you know, having all these different characters and having, and it, you know, like musical guests and doing crafts and like talking about death and like having some kind, you know, like maybe instead of like zombie, it's like, you know, we go to the Tegan Oracle, or, you know, like, and just like all of these different things, and like a cooking thing and like snacks and like learning new words from other languages or learning about rituals from other like cultures, doing like a, you know, maybe we like travel somewhere, or and just doing these things. And I think about this, I've thought about this a lot when I saw I think the Orange Years, like the Nickelodeon documentary. I'm pretty sure that's what referenced it. They were talking about Pee-wee's Playhouse and how, like, number one, like it gave all these like creative like neurodivergent folk jobs and work and like fulfilling work, creating all these like insane sets and puppets and like ideas, and like nothing was off limits. And then you have Paul Rubens just totally embodying this like incredible character, the likes that we had never seen before, and just so like deeply grounded in that character. And I mean, talk about, I think about it, makes me think about the Ugly Betty characters and just how fully realized they all are. And it's like in that vein of like beautiful, beautiful artistry. And and that, so once it finally airs, that like bars were opening up early and playing it because people, like adults wanted to like watch it. Um and then also obviously it was for kids. And I think as this like this thing comes to hopefully some kind of fever pitch in our society of like we can't continue to live like this, and we have been purposefully disconnected from ourselves and each other, that this could be another one of those like ways to collect and to unify and like to bring people together, and in these unique ways of like people respond to art working, and to art being its truest, most authentic self. And when it's allowed to do that, the power that that has for everyone is important, important. And so learning about Ugly Betty, the like head writer, Silvio Horta, I think, um, come to find out he committed suicide. And to have that be the bookend on like this beautiful thing that, I mean, not him alone obviously, but like he really, when they're talking about it, he's the heartbeat of it, and it just, that just made me think of, I would really love to hear Selma Hayek talk about him and like her initial like, she just talk about tenacity of getting something made. But I mean, I think look at Frida, and what she had to go through to get that shit made, and how important and impactful that shit has been. Specifically the movie, because if not for the movie, I wouldn't know the artist at all. And like her portrayal of Frida is just so fucking beautiful. God, the whole movie and the music and fuck me up. Fuck me right up. And the dial, oh my god. Fucking the writing. Julie Taymor, beautiful director, like hurrah, ha. Yeah. I'm gonna go on a new tangent of, so last night something came up again with the owner, Todd, of he was saying that he had a Hanson shirt and then that he wore it out. And I assume ironically, because he doesn't seem to be the type who actually liked Hanson. But then he was like, oh, when did that come out? And and I was like, of course. I was like 96. And then he's like, oh, have you ever like recently read the lyrics to Mbop? And I'm like, I got them all in my head right now, like they never left. And then I was like, yeah, I used to get in like fights at parties in, middle school about the musical integrity of Hanson. I have always been this bitch. Like, I have always been this bitch. And I was just kind of reflecting on that. I was journaling earlier, and and because I wrote something and one of their lyrics came into my head. It's from Weird, and now I'm like, I can't think of it. Where you where you don't stand out and you don't fit in, you're just a little bit weird. And I mean, that whole song was just like, I felt so seen. I felt so seen by that whole album, Middle of Nowhere, their first album. And that was my first concert. I saw them at Red Rocks on July 18th of 97, I think. 97, 98. It might have been the summer of 98. Um, and wow. But yeah, just that album. And like, I think I didn't get to this in the last episode. That was like, I've been lightly having like horror flashbacks to that very high Rampage. Violently high, as Alana, well, not Alana's character, but um, oh, I can't think of what her name is in Broad City, but the one that Alana torments in the fucking office. And she's like, "Oh, Nicole, there's an egg for you if you can find it." She's such a shit. She's such a shit. But then Nicole is like doing her voice memos, and she's like, she has come in violently high. And I think about it. I was very violently high in the last epi. But I was attempting to get into how I had this sacred space of a Hanson closet because my sister moved into her room downstairs, and her iconic room. And so then I had the extra closet, and I took out all the shelves and um, bedazzled it with all of my Hanson posters from like Tiger Beat. And then of course, like, I made cutouts of their names, their like zodiac signs, their favorite color. And then I had this little ice ice cooler, like chiller, and it was like a vintage orange, like quilted with like a gold handle. And I turned that into like this like wishing well, and I would like throw my pop tops and like pennies in there and make wishes in my wishing well. And I'm kind of like, oh, that was kind of like a pensive vibe, you know, from the magical universe that doesn't belong to that biatch anymore. That turfy woman. And then I had my little boombox in there, and I would listen to my Middle of Nowhere album and just cry. Um, but I think in the last epi, and like what I'd like to bring it back to is that, like, creating these sacred spaces, creating these kind of rituals, like, it's funny to see how often through my life I've innately done that and not really known that that's what I was doing. Um, and I think about that too, of like when I'd go camping or like anything, and I collect, rocks and sticks and, well, and sometimes, got some bones and shit. And make kind of like these little nature altar collections. Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting to be on this like bookend of realizing that that's what I've been doing the whole time, recognizing that like it's actually not woo woo to trust your own internal compass and use tools to help you do that, i.e., like divination tools and like creating your own ritual. Like, this is intrinsic to human nature, and we have been, again, disconnected from what is our true nature. And I'm like not interested in continuing to do that. And I just keep looking for ways to validate myself and my experiences, and also be able to say, none of this is working for me anymore. It must change, and I must find another way to exist, because like this is not sustainable. It's never been sustainable, but it's absolutely not now. And I cannot continue to perform in these ways that, like, even when I'm trying to perform, do not serve me, i.e., an 8-hour shift for 100 bones. Like, not it. That's not it. That can't be it. I can't, that's not a good use of my time, you know, like, again, where you're like groveling for a tip. It's not, I can't be relying on other people to to pay me what I'm worth, clearly, you know, like, and I see myself trying to be in this, like, I'm still trying to perform because it feels like I have to, because like I have to pay rent. But it's like, well, this isn't paying the rent though either. It's such a hard situation of just how do I make this different for myself once and for all? Seriously, like, this is just, it continues to be bonkers that I keep ending up here. And it's like, okay, well, I thought I did something different. What? Okay, what? Um, and this gonna come in on my final thought of, I have this idea that I want to be able to talk through with y'all, and then I'm gonna like pitch it. So I have I have all these fucking ideas, and I have this kind of thing where I'm calling it the ideas factory. And I want it to be this thing where there's some kind of way, either like I'm going rapid fire where I'm like saying the name of the thing or doing like a light elevator pitch. And then you could also like go deeper in. And so there'd be, you know, the panel of judges. Like, so it's like ideas factory, Shark Tank style. So I'm like doing these pitches of ideas to said bar owners and Susie, because I specifically for the Five Spy is what I'm thinking. And I'm on stage. They're, you know, I don't know, whatever. I don't know. I'm thinking Shark Tank setup, kind of, you know, where it's like they're on a panel, kind of person is pitching. And either like have some kind of like card, like I have cards that say like the name of the thing, and then they like put up their cards if they want, if they're interested, if they want more. And then like I do that, so then they can be like elevator pitch, and then I do the elevator pitch, and then if they want to know more, then they go deep, because then I want to reference the Janet Jackson song Go Deep. And then I like go into the pitch, and then, you know, at the end of the pitch or whatever, then they're like, if they want to explore further or whatever, to like potentially bring it into the bar. But I'm like, I want this idea where I can just freak flag fly, like all of these crazy things, like get them out, and then like get the feedback of like, is that something like you want to help me do, you know? Is that something that would be a fit for this venue, you know, and like all the things. So thanks for letting me talk it out. I'm gonna make a little pitch deck to send, because in an effort to be like, I can't do this, and having these little nuggets be dropped yesterday specifically, well, and also going back to the Hanson of it, I'm like, you know what? Then I had this other idea of, you know, theoretically, I would love this to be a band, a live band that like we do songs, and then the whole, you know, like Hanson songs are like littered in, and the whole thing is, can you spot the Hanson song? Can you tell the Hanson song? And something like that, where it's like, bet you didn't know that was Hanson or something, and have that be the shtick, and then it's kind of also like my, you know, then I can fulfill my childhood dream of having a Hanson cover band, and you know, and it would be something gimmicky and different. And if I do know something, those Hanson fans are out there, and you know, it got me the band the first time, so maybe this is how I get a band again, right? My first band, Ophelia's Asylum, was born because in French class, this girl Claire, who I was sat with at a table first day of French, and she had all these band names written all over her shoes. And of course, my eagle eyes was like, is that Hanson? Is that Hanson on your shoe? Sure enough, it was. And also, we had the same shoes. Um, yep. And then we started a band, Ophelia's Asylum, a little duo act, the first of some. All right, Dwellings. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for being here. It's nice to be with us chickens. Until next time, don't let nobody shame you. Don't you dare shame yourself. And from me to you, a big hug. Bye, Dwellings. Let's see if I can